In today's episode of Court Case Documentaries, Impeachment. What is it, and has anyone been impeached before? The case of Nixon versus U.S., 1974. What is impeachment? Impeachment is a process in which a government official is accused of misconduct or a crime while in office. An example of a government official includes president, vice president, judges, etc. In U.S. history, there have been 3 presidents who have been impeached. The 17th president, Andrew Johnson, was impeached in 1868. The 42nd president, Bill Clinton, was impeached in 1998. And the 45th and 47th president, Donald Trump, was impeached once in 2019 and a second time in 2021. Richard Nixon was the 37th president of the United States. From seeing a man land on the moon to facing impeachment, what crime could have caused this drastic decline? During the Watergate investigation over the summer in 1972, 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. They attempted to bug and photograph confidential Democratic documents. It was quite a scandal, as the theft was used as a cover-up to a bigger issue. President Nixon attempted to hide the tape recordings, claiming executive privilege. Executive privilege is when the president withholds information from the media, public, and sometimes Congress. President Nixon refused to turn over evidence of the Watergate investigation, evidence in the form of tape recordings. The issue: the Supreme Court had to decide whether President Nixon had to turn in the tape recordings or not. In the case of Nixon versus U.S., the district court ruled that the tape recordings had to be released. President Nixon refused to comply and attempted to appeal the district court's ruling. The appeals in the Supreme Court did not rule in Nixon's favor, stating that President Nixon could not withhold the tape recordings and that they must be surrendered to continue the investigation. Due to this ruling, Richard Nixon resigned as president because the recordings would prove that Nixon was involved in the Watergate investigation. The case showcased that the president is not above the law. Although the president can keep secrets, he cannot hide evidence in a criminal case. The tape recordings were important evidence and necessary for the Watergate investigation. After Nixon's resignation, his second vice president, Gerald Ford, took office and immediately pardoned Richard Nixon. This caused the public and media to become increasingly suspicious of Nixon's possible involvement in the crime, with his motive being that he wanted to be reelected for president. 5 men break into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. Watergate scandal flooded the media. Nixon and his aides tried to cover the crime. They obstructed FBI, paid hush money, and tried to hide the truth. Nixon had secretly recorded conversations in the Oval House. Nixon refused to hand over the video recordings, claiming executive privilege. Can the president use executive order to hide evidence in a criminal investigation? No one, not even the president, is above the law. The smoking gun. The tapes revealed Nixon's involvement in the investigation. Facing impeachment, President Richard Nixon resigned in August of 1974. He is the first and only president to do so. Even the president must obey the laws. Executive privilege has limits, and the rule of law always comes first.